We're almost done the first juz'. That's what consistency will get you. And so the author says, starting with the word of God Almighty, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وقالوا كونوا هودا أو نصارى تهتدوا. And they said, be Jews or Christians, and you will be guided. Those are the Jews of Medina and the Christians of Najran. The Christians of Najran, those were those were Arab Christians. The Jews were really, Israelites. Those Jews in Medina were authentic Jews. And the Christians of Najran were Arabs. It wasn't the norm of the Arabs to be Christians. قُلْ بَلْ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا. Say, rather, we follow the religion of Abraham, who was disinterested in invalid religion. Abraham, who was a Hanif, that means disinterested in invalid religion. وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. And he was not one of the pagans like you. And he was not one of the pagans. And there's an insinuation in there. Like you, meaning like you Jews and you Christians and pagan Arabs, all were claiming the religion of Abraham, though they were all upon shirk. That's what's correct about Jews and Christians. They are mushriks, but they are Ahlul Kitab, people of the book. The people of the book are mentioned in the Quran, contrary to the mushriks. But that's not because they're not actually mushriks. It's just that they have their own classification. They have their own rules. قولوا آمنا بالله وما أنزل إلينا. Say, O believers, we believe in Allah and in what Quran was revealed to us. Or it means, say, O disbelievers. And then this would mean, embrace Islam. Say it so that you would be upon the truth. قولوا آمنا بالله وما أنزل إلينا. Say, believers, we believe in Allah and in what Quran was revealed to us. Wise believers, because it says Qulu, has that wow there. And when we say, O Muhammad, it says Qul, not Qulu. وَمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ. And we believe in what 10 suhuf were revealed to Abraham. وَإِسْمَاعِيلَ وَإِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ وَالْأَسْبَاطِ. And we believe in what was revealed to Ishmael and Isaac and Jacob and the Asbat, prophets from the children of Israel. وَمَا أُوتِيَ مُوسَى وَعِيسَى. And we believe in what Torah was given to Moses and the Injil given to Jesus. وَمَا أُوتِيَ النَّبِيُّونَ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ. And we believe in all other books and signs given to the prophets from their Lord. Yani, even if that wasn't named for us, we believe in anyone that Allah made a prophet. We believe in any book that Allah revealed. And we believe in any miracle that a prophet performed. لا نفرق بين أحد منهم. We do not make distinction between believing in any of them like the Jews and Christians do. وَنَحْنُ لَهُ مُسْلِمُونَ. And we are sincere Muslims of His. That's what the believers were commanded to say. فَإِنْ آمَنُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا آمَنْتُمْ بِهِ فَقَدِ اهْتَدَوْا. So if they believe in similar to what you believers believe in, then they have been guided. وَإِن تَوَلَّوْا فَإِنَّمَا هُمْ فِي شِقَاقٍ. And if they turn away from what you say, then they are only in schism, in opposition. فَسَيَكْفِيكَهُمُ اللَّهُ. So Allah will suffice you, Muhammad, against them by making you inevitably dominant over them. Allah will support you. Allah will spare you of them, O Muhammad. Allah yakfik, as if to say, Allah will take care of them for you, Muhammad. وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. And He is as-Sami'ul Alim, the hearer of what they utter, the knower about what envy and enmity they hide inside. The Christians were immersing their children in yellow water and called that baptism. So what's these words here? It's coming in the middle like that to remind you that's the reason for the revelation, and that's the context under which some verses would be, so you understand their meanings. There's a difference between the reason for the revelation and the tafsir of the ayah, but sometimes you wouldn't understand the tafsir without knowing its reason, and sometimes you would understand the tafsir better if you know the reason that the words were revealed. So the Christians were immersing their children in yellow water, and they called that baptism, claiming that this is purification for them. When one would do that to his child, he would say, "Now you are a Christian truly." Thus Allah commanded the Muslims to say, "Sibghat Allah." We believe in the religion of Allah. The religion of Allah that is purification of the souls, unlike their invalid baptism that does not truly purify. So some of them translate this as the baptism of Allah. So we avoided that here. Sibgha means dye, coloring. So as we just said here, the Christians were immersing their children in yellow water, colored water, dyed water, a sibgh, or something like that. So as if it's saying this religion is God's real baptism. But we avoided those words here. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ مِنَ اللَّهِ صِبْغَةً. And who is better than Allah? And who is better than Allah in revealing religion and purifying souls? So I just told you, some of them translate it like what I told you, like the baptism of Allah or the baptism of God. So where'd all these words come from then? This is just two words here. Sibghat Allah. Now we have all these words here because that's translating the tafsir, that's explaining, the tafsir that's elaborating. Now, the way I was doing this tafsir is I was trying to make it so that if a person's studying Arabic, he can look at the Arabic and look at the translation and try to see, in so many instances, see what's going on there. So everything in this line right here is in parentheses, except here, the religion of Allah. So that right there is a loose translation of this right here. Sibghat Allah. And this is where some of them put the word baptism. And this is the meaning though. This means this correct religion of Allah here, which is the right way for purification. Not that what you do. And then all of what's around it is the implication there. So we believe in the religion of Allah. Where'd this part come from? Why? We believe in, because here, Sibghata, there's a fatha here. Sibghata, that means the object of a verb. There is a verb implied. So what's the implied verb? The implied verb is we believe in. Where did it come from? It's connected to verse 136. We're right now on 138. Where's verse 136? Here. Qulu amanna billah. Say, O believers, we believe in. We believe in Allah and in what was revealed to us and what was revealed to Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac and Jacob and the Asbab and what was given to Moses and Jesus and in all the other whatever was given to the prophets from their Lord. And we don't make distinction between them, between any of them. And we are sincere Muslims of His. That's 136. Then there's 137 here. Then there's this comment about the Christian baptism. Then 138. Sibagat Allah, connecting it to the previous ayah, yani, to ayahs previous. We believe in the religion of Allah. Now, the way I was working on this tafsir is that, has like N for Nesafi, J for Jalalain, etc. So if there's something like this between brackets, doesn't have any letter, it means that it's in all of them. So I didn't have to put any letter there. So unless I slipped and I missed something, then that means it's in all Nasafi, at least Nasafi and Jalalain at the least. Sibagat Allah. We believe in the religion of Allah, that is purification of the souls. Unlike their invalid baptism that does not truly purify. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ مِنَ اللَّهِ صِبْغَةً. And who is better than Allah in revealing religion, purifying souls? So someone might translate that as, and who's better than Allah in baptism or in baptizing? So it's clear for you. It's not what the Christians do. It's something better than what they do. It's from God actually. And Allah called it that in His book, Sibghah. وَنَحْنُ لَهُ عَابِدُونَ. And we are worshippers of His. قُلْ أَتُحَاجُّونَنَا فِي اللَّهِ. Say, O Muhammad, do you Jews dispute with us about Allah sending an Arabian Muslim prophet and not a Jew? وَهُوَ رَبُّنَا وَرَبُّكُمْ. Do you dispute with us about that while we have something in common? That He is our Lord and He is your Lord? وَلَنَا أَعْمَالُنَا وَلَكُمْ أَعْمَالُكُمْ. And we have our deeds and you have your deeds. وَنَحْنُ لَهُ مُخْلِصُونَ. But the difference is that we are devoted to Him, dedicating religion to Allah only, while you commit shirk. أَمْ تَقُولُونَ إِنَّ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْمَاعِيلَ وَإِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ وَالْأَسْبَاطَ كَانُوا هُودًا أَوْ نَصَارَى. Or do you say that Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac and Jacob and the Asbalt were Jews or Christians? قُلْ أَأَنْتُمْ أَعْلَمُ أَمِ اللَّهِ. Say in objection, O Muhammad, do you know better or Allah? As for Allah, He has already cleared Abraham of your religion in previous ayahs. Surat Al-Baqarah, ayah 135 and Al-Imran 67. So I don't have Al-Imran 67 to open it for you, but 135, we just passed it. قُلْ بَلْ مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Say rather, we follow the religion of Abraham, who was disinterested in all invalid religion, and he was not one of the pagans like you. So, أَمْ تَقُولُونَ إِنَّ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْمَاعِيلَ وَإِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ وَالْأَسْبَاطَ كَانُوا هُودًا أَوْ نَصَارَى. Or do you say that Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac and Jacob and the Asbalt were Jews and Christians? قُلْ أَأَنْتُمْ أَعْلَمُ أَمِ اللَّهِ. Say in objection, Muhammad, do you know better, you Jews, or does Allah know better? As for Allah, He has already cleared Abraham of your religion. So that's implied there. Do you know better or God? God already said what he said, yani, in the ayah, in the previous ayah. وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنْ كَتَمَ شَهَادَةً عِنْدَهُ مِنَ اللَّهِ. And who is more unjust than he who knowingly conceals a testimony that he has from Allah in the Torah about Abraham having the Hanif religion, and about the prophethood of Muhammad, and about other things? That's the case of the Jews. That means no one is more unjust. Who's more unjust means no one is more unjust than whoever's mentioned here, whoever has this description. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. And Allah is not heedless of what you do, of belying the messengers and hiding the testimony. تِلْكَ أُمَّةٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ. That was a nation that has passed. The same one as mentioned in verse 134. That's from last week. What was that ayah 134? تِلْكَ أُمَّةٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ. That nation of Abraham, Jacob, and their sons was a nation that has passed. لَهَا مَا كَسَبَتْ وَلَكُمْ مَا كَسَبْتُمْ. It shall be recompensed for whatever deeds it acquired, and you Jews shall be recompensed for whatever deeds you acquired. وَلَا تُسْأَلُونَ عَمَّا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. And you shall not be responsible for what they used to do. So boast not about your ancestry, Jews. Your religion is different from theirs. That's ayah 134. And here we are at 141. تِلْكَ أُمَّةٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ. That was the nation that has passed, the same one mentioned in 134. لَهَا مَا كَسَبَتْ وَلَكُمْ مَا كَسَبْتُمْ. It shall be recompensed for whatever deeds it acquired, and you shall be recompensed for whatever deeds you acquired. وَلَا تُسْأَلُونَ عَمَّا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. You shall not be responsible for what they used to do. That's the end of the first juz'. Here's the second juz'. Hizb 3.1. As a telling of the future, God informed the believers about what would be said about them, to brace them for the negative criticism and the mockery, and to prepare them with the answer. He said, سيقول السفهاء من الناس ما ولاهم عن قبلتهم عن قبلتهم التي كانوا عليها. The fools amongst the people, yani amongst the Jewish people and the hypocrites and the pagans, they will say, sayaqul, in the future, they shall say, what has turned them from their qibla of the boulder of Baytul Maqdis that they were upon? So what's that said here as a telling of the future? So that's part of the miracle of the Quran then. So what turned them away from their qibla of Baytul Maqdis? They're saying, why they started facing the Kaaba again? They started off facing the Kaaba, then they came to Medina, and then for some time they started facing Jerusalem. Then they started facing the Kaaba again. ما ولاهم عن قبلتهم التي كانوا عليها. What has turned them from their qibla of the boulder of Baytul Maqdis that they were upon? قل لله المشرق والمغرب. Say, O Muhammad, to Allah belongs the east and the west, and every direction. There is no objection to him. So there's no objection to him. That's implied in there. To Allah belongs the east and the west. So hints and subtleties, a lot of people don't catch them. And we don't catch them, Yani. That's why we learned the Tafsir. The scholars documented those for us. يهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. He guides whomever he wills to a straight path, a correct qibla. Or Sirat mustaqim here means correct religion. Uh, so sirat mustaqim, straight path or right way. It's going to mean the religion in some spots. And according to this tafsir here, could mean correct qibla in particular. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was commanded at first to face the Kaaba. Then he migrated to Medina and was commanded to face Baytul Maqdis, to be in conformity with the Jews. Since the Torah had that the last prophet would face the two Qiblas, that means to fulfill a prophecy that the Jews knew. The prophet was commanded when he got to Medina to change his Qibla. Then those Jews, when they knew, that was a sign for them. They knew before the prophet came that the last prophet would face the two Qiblas. So he was commanded to do that so that the prophecy would come true. He faced that way for 16 or 17 months. Then the original prayer direction was restored. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. And that also, that event, this talk we're talking here, that's also a telling of the unseen. Now, it's not this here, not an ayah of the Quran. But for the Prophet to do that, that's also, as you know, is clear for you, that's a sign of his prophethood. Because what we're talking about here is some people who, they have some knowledge. They used to then. They had some knowledge. So then, when this one came, and then he faced the two Qiblas, and he did the name of this thing here, facing the two Qiblas, then they knew what it was. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. And like we have made that prayer direction the best, we made you, O nation of Muhammad, a moderate nation. Here, وَكَذَلِكَ, and like that. So this appears in the Quran in several spots. So you want to know what? Like what? So that means you need to be paying attention to the context of whatever the verses in the vicinity are talking about. So here, وَكَذَلِكَ, and like that, like what? Like we have made that prayer direction the best. جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. We have made you, O nation of Muhammad, a moderate nation. And that means you are the best. You are the best nation, O Muhammad's nation. لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. So that in the afterlife you would be witnesses over the people of the previous nations. You would be witnesses that their messengers delivered the message to them. That's an authority given to the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's there an indication of one indication of the greatness, the high status of the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The nation of Muhammad will testify on Judgment Day as witnesses. You know the story of the people of Noah. When they would be brought forth and they will be asked if Noah conveyed his message, and they will deny it. Then the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would be asked if Noah conveyed his message, and they would confirm it. So that's their testifying against other nations. Just the fact that Allah brings them forth for this testimony. لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. So that in the afterlife you would be witnesses over the people of previous nations, that their messengers delivered the message to them. وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. And so that the messenger would be a witness over you, specifically validating your trustworthiness, O nation of Muhammad. It's got a lot of footnotes here. So it was reported that the nations on Judgment Day will deny the conveyance of the prophets. Then God will command the prophets to present their evidence that they conveyed, though He knows better. Then the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be brought forth to testify. Then the nations shall say, "How do you know?" They will answer, "We know that by God's telling us about it in His book, as pronounced upon the tongue of His honest prophet." Then Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be brought forth and asked about the case of his nation, and then he will validate them and testify to their trustworthiness. وَمَا جَعَلْنَا الْقِبْلَةَ الَّتِي كُنْتَ عَلَيْهَا إِلَّا لِنَعْلَمَ مَنْ يَتَّبِعُ الرَّسُولَ مِمَّنْ يَنْقَلِبُ عَلَى عَقِبَيْهِ. And we did not make the current Qibla of Baytul Maqdis be the direction that you were upon previously, that of the Kaaba, but so that by redirecting the prayer direction, we would differentiate whoever follows the messenger regardless of the direction from who turns on his heels and leaves Islam by the shock of the change of the prayer direction. Yani, when they had to turn back towards the Kaaba, some people found this to be something huge. What? You changed your prayer direction? How can this be right? And then they commit apostasy. If you know people, then don't be surprised by that. Because a person will show that he's on your side when he's not, until he has an excuse to expose really what he feels. And then when he has it, then he'll let it out. So Allah Ta'ala made that change of the Qibla happen so that some people will be sifted out. So that some people will be sorted out. وَمَا جَعَلْنَا الْقِبْلَةَ الَّتِي كُنْتَ عَلَيْهَا إِلَّا لِنَعْلَمَ مَنْ يَتَّبِعُ الرَّسُولَ. And we did not make the Qibla that you were upon, but so that we would differentiate whoever follows the messenger from who turns on his heels. مِمَّنْ يَنْقَلِبُ عَلَىٰ عَقِبَيْهِ. And then he leaves Islam by the shock of the change of the prayer direction. Yani, someone would be with someone or some people that he sees they're winners. But his heart's not really with them. So as soon as it looks like they're losers, he will abandon them. وَإِن كَانَتْ لَكَبِيرَةً إِلَّا عَلَى الَّذِينَ هَدَى اللَّهُ. And surely it is something indeed substantial, except for those whom Allah has guided. What's it? That changing of the Qibla, or the Qibla itself, is something indeed substantial. Kabira, something big, except for those whom Allah has guided. وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ. And as for those who died before the direction was restored to the Kaaba, Allah would never let the reward of your acts of faith go to waste. Yani, they get all of their reward. إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِالنَّاسِ لَرَءُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. Surely Allah is to the people certainly Ra'uf, most merciful, and Rahim, merciful. So He does not deprive them of the reward of their deeds. قَدْ نَرَى تَقَلُّبَ وَجْهِكَ فِي السَّمَاءِ. We do see the turning of your face to the sky, hoping for the revelation for turning towards the Kaaba, O Muhammad, because the Prophet's heart never ceased to be attached to the Qibla of Abraham. That was his preference. Yani, the Qibla for the Israelites was different from the Qibla of Abraham. They had a Qibla though. An interesting thing, if you didn't know, Jews in the United States and Canada, you know which way they face? They face southeast. Subhanallah. فَلَنُوَلِّيَنَّكَ قِبْلَةً تَرْضَاهَا. So we swear we shall surely turn you to a qibla that you prefer. Imagine those Jews knowing that there's Muslims in the United States and Canada facing northeast. Those are probably laughing at those guys, knowing so well that they're facing the wrong way and knowing how much they think they're facing the right way. So we swear, O Muhammad, we shall surely turn you to a qibla that you prefer. فَوَلِّ وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. So turn your face in the direction of the sacred masjid, O Muhammad. So therein is evidence for nasikh, abrogation. There's abrogation here. Now the Prophet has a new directive. Turn back to the Qibla of Abraham, O Muhammad. وَحَيْثُ مَا كُنْتُمْ فَوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ شَطْرَهُ. And wherever you believers were, turn your faces in its direction. Subhanallah. You think about the wisdom of Allah Ta'ala, the one who knows all the unseen, the one who knows what will happen in the future. Allah Ta'ala, He sent Prophet Abraham. He gave Abraham two sons. One of those sons is the patriarch of the Israelites. That's Isaac. And one of them is patriarch of Arabs. That's Ishmael. He makes so many prophets come from the line of Isaac and Jacob. And so many centuries of prophets come from that line. And they had their own Qibla. And they were upon Islam. But still though, Allah Ta'ala, He did command Abraham and Ishmael to go into the land of the Arabs and build a structure there. So in the meantime, these prophets, Israelite prophets, they are dealing with whatever they're dealing with. You have the Israelites and all their stories and events. And Allah made them know the other son of Abraham, Ishmael. And Allah made it confirmed that Abraham built this structure in the Arab lands. Then those Israelites, they went misguided. They perverted the religion. And Allah Ta'ala sent another prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And the Jews want an excuse to deny him because it's not from the Israelites. But they can't deny him because he still is following the religion of Abraham. They can't deny it. They can't deny that he's upon the religion of Abraham. Well, they did deny, of course, but the link is there. Allah Ta'ala made the proofs very strong. So he didn't come up from out of the Israelites, but he did come from somewhere that has a proof. It has a trace, a relic from Abraham, that Kaaba and that Qibla of Abraham. So he didn't have the Qibla of the Jews. But then when he went to Medina, he had to take their Qibla by God's command to be a proof for the Jews. Then he was commanded to turn back to the Qibla that he preferred. قَدْ نَرَى تَقَلُّبَ وَجْهِكَ فِي السَّمَاءِ. We do see the turning of your face to the sky, hoping for the revelation for turning towards the Kaaba, O Muhammad. فَلَنُوَلِّيَنَّكَ قِبْلَةً تَرْضَاهَا. So we swear, we shall surely turn you to a Qibla that you prefer. فَوَلِّ وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. So turn your face in the direction of the sacred masjid, O Muhammad. Al-Masjid al-Haram is the masjid that contains the Kaaba. Really, he's supposed to face the Kaaba. وَحَيْثُ مَا كُنْتُمْ فَوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ شَطْرَهُ. And wherever you believers were, turn your faces in its direction. وَإِنَّ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ لَيَعْلَمُونَ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ. And surely those who have been given the book indeed know that turning towards the Kaaba is the truth from their Lord. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا يَعْمَلُونَ. And Allah is not heedless of what those Jews do. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. He said the structure still upright. Is the structure still upright? The Kaaba? So the Kaaba is still there because that's where you go when you make the Hajj. The one for the Jews, which was their Qibla, I don't know what exactly was the exact point, and according to their that fiqh was they're supposed to be facing. What I got out of the tafsir is that there's a boulder. I only found that in one tafsir that I looked in out of a number of them, not many of them. وَلَئِنْ أَتَيْتَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ بِكُلِّ آيَةٍ مَا تَبِعُوا قِبْلَتَكَ. And by God, if you were to bring to those who are given the book every sign that the Kaaba is the true Qibla, they would not follow your Qibla out of obstinacy. They're not opposing you because of a fallacy that can be clarified by evidence. They simply don't want to. وَمَا أَنْتَ بِتَابِعٍ قِبْلَتَهُمْ. Nor are you a follower of their Qibla. So let them be hopeless of you resorting to their religion. Yani, if he would follow their Qibla, then maybe they would hope that he would follow their religion. But no. Now, do not follow their Qibla and let them be hopeless of that. وَمَا بَعْضُهُمْ بِتَابِعٍ قِبْلَةَ بَعْضٍ. Nor are the Jews and Christians followers of each other's Qibla, although they agree about contradicting the Prophet. But they still go against each other, really. وَلَئِنِ اتَّبَعْتَ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ. And if you followed their desires to which they invite you, O Muhammad, after what has come to you of the knowledge, the clear evidence that the correct Qibla is indeed the Kaaba, and the correct religion is Islam, إِنَّكَ إِذًا لَمِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. You would most surely be then amongst the unjust. الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابَ يعرفونه كما يعرفون أبناءهم. Those to whom we have given the book recognize Muhammad as they recognize their sons or their children because of his description in their books. Yani, very clear description. They knew him. وَإِنَّ فَرِيقًا مِّنْهُمْ لَيَكْتُمُونَ الْحَقَّ وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. And surely a party of them who did not embrace Islam indeed concealed the truth of his description out of envy and obstinacy while they knew it, because Allah clarified it in their book. Al-haqqu min rabbik. The truth is what is confirmed to be from your Lord, like your religion, O Muhammad, and anything else is invalid. فَلَا تَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْمُمْتَرِينَ. So certainly be not among the doubters that it is from your Lord. Wallahu a'lam. Let's stop there. Do you have any question I can answer for you?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Barakallah, Shaykh.
Ameen wa fi.
I just could you go back to the part where you were explaining how the Jews they reject Ishmael? You said
No, I didn't say they rejected him. I was trying to make a point, and not
okay.
taking it from one of these ayahs in particular. just from the perspective of trying to see something from perhaps their perspective, those Jews. So what's their
Oh,
case?
okay.
The case that they had their religion. They believed that they were the chosen people, and that they had the religion from God. That they were kuffar though, and very bad people and prophet killers. So, but they knew the last prophet's coming. They thought he's going to be on their religion.
Mm.
So then Muhammad came, and when he wasn't a Jew and he was an Arab, then they hated that and they said he can't be the one. But really, they had all the signs, even the fact that he's from the line of Ishmael, and the fact that Abraham, for sure, he built a Kaaba there in Mecca. So that's a sign. It's a sign for them because they know Abraham. They believe in Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
Like some non-Muslims, they don't really see. It's like they think that Islam is. They claim that Islam is a copy of Judaism or Christianity or something like that, and it's not the case. It doesn't occur to them that actually Abraham, he was in Mecca actually, and he built the Kaaba there with his son Ishmael. So what was Abraham and Ishmael doing there at this Kaaba? And then now Muhammad came and with this religion. What does his religion have to do with this Kaaba? Why didn't they just leave it for the pagan Arabs? The pagan Arabs had control of this building. Why they didn't just leave it for them? Because really it's not for them. That's an Islamic relic. And so that Kaaba being part of Muhammad's religion, and the fact that he faces a Qibla, he has a Qibla in his religion. For the Jews, this is very recognizable. Has all the signs for them to know that really he is a prophet, even though he didn't come out of the Israelites. That's what I was trying to say. I hope that's clear. I mean, Wafi.
Yeah. It's,
You said I said the Jews in Canada, they face southeast, what they claim is the Qibla of their prayer. Yeah, that's right. They face southeast in the United States and Canada, the Jews. So I was saying, because they know, don't they know that Muslims in the United States and Canada face northeast? So they know that's wrong. I'm just saying, can you imagine how much they snickering at those Muslims, laughing at those Muslims? They would never even tell them. That's the wrong way. They would probably say to them, no, you face northeast. Yeah, that's right. Subhanallah. Tafsir for Ayah 45. وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ, and seek assistance through patience and prayer. وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ إِلَّا عَلَى الْخَاشِعِينَ, and surely it, which is the prayer, إِنَّهَا, and surely it, and surely the prayer, or surely the seeking of help, لَكَبِيرَةٌ, it is something certainly significant, heavy on the self. Yani, a burden, one would find it on himself, a burden. إِلَّا عَلَى الْخَاشِعِينَ, إِلَّا عَلَى الْخَاشِعِينَ, except for the servile ones who are comfortable with worship. What's the burden? It's the prayer, or it's the seeking of help. Yeah. وَإِنَّهَا, and indeed it, in innaha, what's ha? This pronoun, what does it go back to? That's a feminine pronoun, by the way. So it's going to go back to something feminine. It can go back to the salah, or it can go back to the isti'ana, seeking of help. Those are both feminine. That's fine, inshallah. Ameen wa iyyakum. You said except servile one. Is that because they good or bad? Because the servile ones are the ones who are comfortable with worship. So it's not a burden on them. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك